not feeling well too, I hear, which sucks.
Yeah, nothing worse than traveling and being sick.
That's
It's like the worst combination.
And it's too bad she can't join us because it was a busy sports weekend here in the 6.
Oh, man.
Oh, thanks, Drake.
I don't even get it.
We should probably start with basketball since it was All-Star Weekend.
That Chris did not watch any.
I didn't watch any of it. So you guys can fill me in. What did I miss?
Any?
So I think
I wanted to, but my daughter was monopolizing the TV. And so in my computer room, I just don't have a satellite receiver or whatever, Bell Fibe receiver, whatever you want to call it. So I can't watch any live TV.
Oh.
So, and she was watching stupid anime in the living room, so.
Well, you didn't really miss much on Friday night.
I don't know, Raonic dunking.
I know, that was pretty huge. So Milos had a huge dunk.
Nice.
Yeah. And Eugenie Bouchard wore her little basketball singlet with a tied up in the side so everybody could see her belly.
Okay.
Which was a little weird, but what can you do?
But there were a lot of empty seats, I
Really?
thought. Yeah.
That seems weird.
Surprised me.
Was it just for that? Were there empty seats in the other events, like the dunk competition and the actual game itself, or?
No, I didn't really get a good look at the stands during the skills comp and all that kind of stuff because every chance they got, they were replaying something.
Right.
Right. So it was like, okay.
Yeah.
We don't ever see the fans or anything. It's the reaction of the fans you're seeing is like you're seeing Drake and Shaq and
right.
They're panning to all
Wiggins
the celebrities in the crowd. Spike Lee, Olivia Wilde.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, her are they married? Her fiance, her husband?
Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah. He played for Team USA and he was a hot hand in the first
He can shoot.
Yeah.
He nailed like four or five threes.
Really?
Yeah.
So.
Well, now I wish I kind of watched it. Kind of.
Like, to be honest, the celebrity game was kind of fun.
So I did see something online about this. Now, because the Team Canada won, right?
It did.
Yeah.
And the guy from Arcade Fire went on some anti-American tirade.
At the end of it, yeah, he was like...
He won the MVP.
Right.
And then he started talking about the political system in Canada. And he's like, up here and the freedom to vote. And when you guys get the chance to vote in November, make sure that you don't vote that. Like, you really fully went. And then the broadcaster or the reporter was like...
They cut him off.
She cut him right off. She's like, this is supposed to be fun. Let's not talk politics. Ha, ha, ha.
Right. Well, good for her because... I totally think that sports and politics aren't something that should be mixed.
Yeah,
maybe I'm crazy, and I get that he has his platform.
Yeah,
but you know,
but Arcade Fire as a band has been known for making those kinds of statements too, right? So
right.
Anytime you give somebody that is politically motivated and likes an audience free reign of a mic,
yeah.
You're in for
yeah,
something.
It's game over for a while.
I thought it was really interesting, though, to go back to Team Canada winning, is at one point during, I think it was the third quarter, the color commentator guy was like, this is getting away from Team USA. Like, they were shocked that Team Canada was even competitive.
Huh.
Well, I mean, we did have Tracy McGrady on our team.
Do you think the fix was in? It was probably fixed, right?
I think. Well, who knows? I mean, I think the fix might have been in for Canada to win, but not by 12, 15 points.
Right.
Yeah, they were up. You know what? I think that they actually probably wanted the USA to win because Kevin Hart was coaching Team USA, right?
Yeah.
And in between, halfway through the fourth, Team USA was down 10 or 12 points, and he disappears, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's throwing in the towel!" And he goes and he gets suited up, and he comes on the
He comes on and plays.
on the court and plays. And they were like, it's a little too late from Kevin. So I think they were actually expecting Team USA to win.
Right.
But it was...
Did they say too little, too late?
Yeah.
They might have.
They may have. They may have. But I thought it was actually really
Are you
enjoyable.
trying to say, is he short?
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't gonna watch it. Like, I don't really care about NBA, and I really enjoyed the celebrity game. I thought it was fun, and
it was
a neat
fun.
idea, right? To make it a whole weekend of events.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had the Rising Star Challenge after that, which was kind of crap. Like, it was.
And didn't I see the score was like 160 to like 140
It was
or something?
157 to 154, I believe, for the Rising Star game.
That's crazy.
But the actual All-Star game was 197 or 194 to 180 something, I think.
Wow.
Or 170. Like, it was stupid. It was absolutely stupid.
That's pretty crazy.
And then, so that was Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night is the skills competition. So
Which is always a fun night.
starts with this like relay where the players are supposed to dribble the ball, do a chest pass, do a layup, and then how do they end? They end with a three-point shot.
You're slalom through a bunch of guys, crossing, dribbling. Then you do a pass. You grab your ball. You go back to the other end of the court, do a layup, and then come back to the other end of the court and hit a 3-point shot.
Okay.
And then and you go up against somebody. So they're like heats. So
Gotcha.
it's not timed. You just whoever wins that relay and goes to the
Moves
next round.
on. Yeah.
And they put
They
they
split
divided
them.
them into two kind of divisions or like
So yeah,
brackets, I guess.
So you got the little guys, the point guards,
Right.
and the big tall guys, like the forwards that can kind of ball handle, but not really.
Actually, like, really cool to watch and to see how good some of these guys are and how accurate they can be. Like, these chest passes are having to go through, like, they have to put it through a hole, like a target that probably is maybe...
It's not that much bigger than the ball.
Yeah. And the number of them that get it on the first try is pretty crazy.
It was very impressive. Like, it's actual skills, right? Like, you actually have to dribble fast and hit the... Like, if you hit everything the first time, you pretty much won. So, it was kind of fun.
It's pretty good.
A big man ended up winning that one. The point guards didn't win.
Which is also funny.
And then they went to the 3-point shooting contest. So there's big debate this year in the NBA skills contest about which should be the last event of skills night.
Because all the teams are like becoming they're shooting teams now, right?
So it has always been that the dunk contest has been the like main event and the last thing. And in the last like 5 or 7 years, the dunk contest has been really shitty.
Right.
Really shitty.
And the 3-point shooting has been the best part of the event. And so this year, there's been big debate about whether it should be 3-point shooting or whether it should be the dunk contest that wraps it up. I think they made the right call this year. Like, the dunk contest was amazing. But the skills these 3-point shooters have is friggin' sick. I think Stephen Curry missed like 2 shots.
Well, yeah. So first round, Steph Curry got a score of 20. So there's 5 stations at 5 balls in each.
Jeez.
And the last ball is called the money ball. So it's 2. Just kind of like away goals are in soccer.
Right. Gotcha.
I'm
glad you put it like that so that way I would understand it.
Yeah, you understand it, right? Also, they get to pick one rack, which is all money balls.
Okay.
So it's all away goals in this one rack.
And you make that one your best
So
spot.
yeah, whichever spot you're the best shooting from, put all those. So you can potentially get 10 points off that one rack. The other ones are all worth 6.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Right?
So it's changed since the last time I watched it, which was probably the 90s.
Right, so you can get a total of 34 points. Is my math right on that one? 32 points? No, 34. 6, 6, 6, 6, and 10.
Yeah.
Right? So 34 points.
Hey, you're fine.
In the first round, 3 guys got 20.
Wow.
And they were all tied for third.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then there was a 21
There
and a
was-
22?
Yeah, so there's a 21 and a 22. So the top 3 move on to the finals to go again,
Wow.
right? So
And
there
I'm
was
tired just watching them.
there was so there's a 3-way tie for third at 20 points each. So they shoot again. So they get another 30
30
seconds.
seconds.
To
Jeez.
shoot as many shots as they can in 30 seconds.
So one guy makes the mistake of putting his money. So they get a money ball rack again in their like shoot off, and he puts his money ball rack at
the third
the
station.
third station.
Right.
But you only have half the time.
Right.
So you're barely getting to the
He
the
didn't
third
get
station.
half the balls off
Right.
in
Yeah,
the
that's a
third
waste.
station. So he wasted half his money balls, which is a funny thing to say. He didn't get his balls off, and he wasted his money balls.
Yeah.
Hate when my balls don't get off.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And so then this poor guy's now shot twice already and has to go into the final against the best 3-point shooter in the league currently.
The top 2 both Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
Right? And then there's this 19-year-old kid who did really well, and then Steph Curry got a 23 in the finals, only to be beat out by his teammate at 27.
It's crazy.
And like this teammate got every ball in on his money rack in the last like
Wow.
7 seconds. And that's what put him in the lead.
Jeez.
It was nuts. People were going crazy.
It's so, and I was saying this yesterday. I think the best part of watching any NBA like skills contest or like the dunk contest, for me, the best part was watching the other players on the side
React.
and their reactions.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Wiggins fell off his chair like 4 times watching these kids dunk. This Levine dunk and
The
Gordon
dunk
dunk.
comp was ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw I've seen the like under his legs over the mascot.
And
Oh.
he didn't win.
He didn't win.
That's crazy.
And they ended up tied, and so they went to like, I think they went 3 extra rounds
Yeah.
of dunks, and they were like polling the audience to see what they should do for dunks because they were all out of ideas because they had to do so many more than they were expecting. But that kid didn't win. That Gordon.
Gordon, yeah, he didn't win.
He didn't win. He went over the mascot, grabbed the ball, put the ball under both his legs.
Both
and
his legs.
didn't win.
It's crazy.
Not just one leg, both his legs.
Both legs.
Like to grab the ball and go under one leg.
He was sitting down in midair.
He was
Yeah,
sitting down
he was-
over top of the mascot.
With his legs at a 90-degree angle to his body.
Yeah.
Like he was making an L in the air.
And dunked it.
And he
Over
did-
the mascot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so my question then becomes, is it more exciting that this Levine kid is back-to-back dunk champions? Like, did they rig that, do you think? Because it was such a huge deal. Nobody's been back-to-back dunk champions in
In a long time.
what did he say, 1958 or something ridiculous?
I
Maybe I
just-
made that up. Or maybe that's a number I pulled from somewhere else. But so this Levine kid's now back-to-back dunk champions, but I don't think he won.
Yeah, like that sitting down one. That's hard to imagine that didn't win.
Like, so yeah, I mean, he one-hand dunked the ball and he took off from the free throw line.
Right.
But this kid went over the mascot under his legs and dunked the ball.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's crazy. So, anyway, I just think there's maybe a little controversy there. And then the kind of boring game happened.
Yes.
And that was yesterday with a stupid score of like 196 to 183 or something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And Kobe's last All-Star game. So the
Yep.
Kobe farewell tour continues.
Yep.
Got a standing O when he left the court.
And it was neat to watch him. Like, he was going up against LeBron. LeBron was covering him.
Like
see that.
anybody was playing defense.
Yeah, there was no D. The
Well,
D got left at the border.
The only time the defense showed up was like when LeBron actually covered Kobe a couple times, and it only happened a couple times. And then when what's his name got up to 41 points.
Yeah, Paul George.
Paul George. He scored 41 points in the All-Star game. Like I know like high scoring game, but
Pretty crazy.
everybody's getting into this game and at least playing a quarter. He scored 41 points.
So this guy,
And they started guarding him so he didn't break the record of like 43.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Paul George is the guy who, remember, like it was before the last Summer Olympics because he was playing for Team USA and he had this like horrific leg injury.
Yeah, remember the guy who had he broke his leg and it came through his leg?
And it
Oh,
was-
yeah.
That's
him.
this guy.
Oh, God.
So he hasn't even been back playing like a year.
Right.
And he scores 41 points in the All-Star game. Doesn't win MVP
Because they lost.
because the East didn't win.
Well,
On the East team.
you know my feeling on
Insane.
MVPs being from the winning team. MVP has to be on the winning team.
No way.
Yeah.
Not All-Star game.
Okay, maybe not the All-Star game because it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, like everybody's an amazing player. So it really should be the person
the
that
most valuable player.
is-
Right.
makes the biggest impact, right? I get it in like championship games. Like it would be ridiculous to give Cam Newton the MVP when they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Because he got fucking smashed. That's why he didn't get the MVP.
What up?
You did get smashed. But, you know, like had he played well, it still
Right.
makes sense to give him the MVP because they didn't win. But in an All-Star game, does it matter whether the team that you're playing for wins or not? Like
At the end of the day,
should that be
no.
the deciding factor.
No, at the end of the day, it doesn't. I mean, okay, in baseball, I think it does because at least the baseball All-Star game means something.
Yeah.
You know, sort of. But,
No, home field advantage for the World Series, that's all.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, you know, what, like 80% of that team, it doesn't even matter anyways.
Oh, yeah, no.
so,
sure. It might matter for one guy.
exactly. Maybe 2 or 3.
Maybe.
So, anyway, I just think that the league missed out on an opportunity to reward a guy that's like put in a ton of effort in the last year to get himself healthy and to show what a great player he is. And there was I read something about him today about like a huge humanitarian and like out there, you know, interacting with kids and charities and this and that. And like, here's an opportunity to really reward a guy for going out and doing an amazing job and
Yeah, and
being
then...
great.
Eh.
And you kind of missed that opportunity. So
So, was it an exciting game to watch?
We were playing cards.
Okay.
As the game, like you
'Cause-
would turn around and
Yeah.
hit it every now and again, and there were some good plays. But I mean, you looked over and the guys were literally just kind of dribbling the ball up to the net, stopping, shooting,
Right.
and it would just keep going back and forth. Like they almost broke 200 points. It was 92-90 at halftime.
Right.
That's a regular NBA game.
Right. So, because I was watching TSN right before we did this, and they had the reporters, you know, Dave Hodge and all the guys, and
Yeah.
they were saying that it was a good. Now, I mean, they're probably talking more from a Toronto aspect, that it was good for the city and all this stuff, and they were comparing it to the NHL All-Star Game.
Sure.
Now, what's better? Like, what was better to watch? Was this better, or do you think the NHL All-Star Game was better?
Well, as I did not watch the NHL All-Star game, I can't tell you that information.
Right.
But I think it depends on what you like to watch too. Like
Right.
the actual game itself doesn't interest me in either sport because nobody cares.
Right. There's nothing on the line.
When the score is 190 something to 180 something, like whatever.
Crazy. That's crazy.
The night before is what matters.
Right.
You know, like
and that's why it's the Saturday night.
yeah, and like the skills comp, the 3-point competition, the dunk, like those are the things you want to see.
Now, granted, it's also a holiday in the States this weekend too,
Yes.
right? So they are benefiting from the fact that nobody went to work today.
Yeah.
So people did stay up to watch the game, or people are going out to watch the game, right? So
Yeah.
I think the NBA does that really well. It's an event. It's a whole weekend. It's huge. There's things like Snoop Dogg threw a party and it was $1,500 a ticket to get in.
Damn.
Like, Gwen Stefani performed on the Friday night. Phil Collins at the halftime show, right? Like, I think the NBA does a really good job of promoting it as a event
Right.
in a whole, whereas even though the NHL it's got different components, right? They do a skills competition and they do a, old timers game or whatever, but it's not as
Flashy.
I don't know whether it's just, it's not, there's not as much hype. And I don't know whether that's because like basketball fans are crazy and a lot of celebrities and, musicians and this and that are huge basketball fans.
Right. Yeah. Hockey doesn't have
that like celebrity pull.
Yeah. Neil Young really likes hockey.
Yeah. Great.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's exact. And there are celebrities that really like hockey. Absolutely. There's celebrities that really like baseball, but I think the personalities of the celebrities that like basketball
are more,
and they have a much like a broader audience.
Right. It's like a lot of the other, like, how many superstar players go to the NHL All-Star game and get excited?
That's true.
Like, you see...
No, they take it as a break.
Exactly. They take it as a break. But, like, at this All-Star game, you've got all the guys who like basketball and who still play it are there.
Yep.
They're not necessarily in the All-Star game. Like, I know Wiggins was, like, he's from Toronto and he was in the Rising Star game, but he wasn't in the All-Star game. He wasn't in the skills competition, yet he was there both nights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that the NBA just really does a good job of promoting it as a big event and a family event, right? Like both Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan had their kids sitting with them sidelines. And I know that baseball does that, right? All the players have their kids with them at the home run derby and stuff. But just, I don't know. And I don't really like NBA ball all that much. But I found the whole weekend to be really exciting. So.
Well, that's good.
I might watch it again next year. Maybe.
We'll see.
So, moving on. Since Tay isn't here today, I figured we still need to wave our burning bras.
Hold on, let me get it off.
Hang on.
I should have given you guys all bras to burn.
Oh, that would be awesome.
For the 500th episode, we have a long way to go.
We actually burn bras.
We needed a burning bra moment in honor of Tay. And so I just wanted to mention that, and it's a big Canada moment, and it's about a sport that's probably not as popular as some of the other sports, but Christine Sinclair.
That's soccer.
That's soccer for those of you who are unfamiliar, or football as they call it in Europe.
As it's supposed to be called.
Okay.
Has just surpassed Mia Hamm, a famous USA footballer, for the second most international goals of all time for women.
Are they home or away goals?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
They don't count as two.
Do the away? Yeah.
They all count as one.
Oh, okay, good.
International, they all count as one.
But
all right.
Just in case it screws you up totally.
I didn't look this up, Ty. Maybe you can look it up for me. But she's 25 goals behind Abby Wambach, who is the leading international female goal scorer of all time, who just retired.
Ooh.
Yes. So Christine Sinclair, going into Olympic tryouts, because they have their CONCACAF coming up to see who's going to Rio, really does have a good chance to be the number one scorer of all time in women's soccer, which I think is pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
What do you want to know?
I want to know how old she is.
Do you want to know how old Abby is, or
No,
Sinclair?
Sinclair. Abby's retired, so she doesn't matter anymore.
Sinclair is 32.
And that's
she got
pretty old for a soccer player, isn't it?
Abby Wambach retired at the age of 35.
35.
Hey.
So she possibly has 3 more years, if not longer, if she stays healthy, of playing. Is that realistic? Like, I don't know what's realistic or not, but she's Canada's top goal scorer.
How many games do they play?
So
Well, they
Abby
have the Olympics
Wambach.
coming up.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, that's good,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Abby Wambach has scored 184 international goals in 255 games. And Sinclair has scored 159 goals in 230 games.
So she's played more games.
Yes. And goals per match, 0.72 for Wambach and 0.69 for Sinclair.
That's pretty close.
So-
pretty close.
On par.
Yeah, she's on
Really?
pace to do it. And that would be really cool. So in honor of Christine Sinclair, I'm burning my bra this week.
Perfect.
So now we can move on to the sports that maybe you paid attention to. Today is February 15th, and it is the 2-year anniversary of the infamous elevator event.
Oh.
You might be wondering what the elevator event is, but it happens to be the 2-year anniversary of the day that Ray Rice had that unfortunate run-in with his lady friend in the
man.
elevator.
It's the day that ended Ray Rice's career.
The day that ended Ray Rice's career, right. And so the only reason I know this is because it came out today, just to keep Ray Rice relevant, that TMZ paid $100,000 for those videos.
Amazing.
100G.
That's amazing.
Wow. I wonder how much they made.
I don't know, but that's insane.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. And you know fucking Goodell didn't want that footage seeing the light of day.
Right? So I just thought that was an important moment in footballing history.
Football history.
I couldn't believe it was today, right? But
That's day after Valentine's Day makes
day
sense.
after Valentine's Day, yeah. And the day that ended Ray Rice's career. So we can all pause and have a moment of silence.
Happy anniversary, Ray.
Happiest of anniversaries. Valentine's Day will never be the same. Family Day, actually,
What does he?
right?
What does he get her for Valentine's Day? Like, because they're still married, right? So
They
what
are,
is?
they're still together.
Oh,
I don't know, you got to get her something good. What did
You
Kobe?
better.
Kobe got his wife a like $19 million ring when he cheated on her, right?
Well, he's
So-
still playing basketball.
Right.
That was a long time ago, too.
And to keep up with the women abusing and NFL line of topics,
Yes.
let's move on to our dear friend Peyton.
Oh, Peyton.
Oh, Peyton. Okay, so I guess describe the situation first, and then we'll discuss it in detail, I guess, a little more.
So 20 years ago,
20 years ago,
1996, for those of you that don't do math very well,
he was 20 years old.
So I'm pretty impressed.
right? Well, it's an easy number, right? So he was still in university at the University of Tennessee, and apparently there
Allegedly.
was some sexual assault that went down with the team, not just him. Like, he was the quarterback, yes, but it was more guys than just him. He's the big name, obviously. but-
Right.
And the women are now anonymously just coming forward.
So
Go.
I don't think that's necessarily because it has to do with the athletic trainer, and she was like a well-respected. She'd gone to. I read the whole article. I can't remember where she went to school, but she was well-respected. She was like top athletic trainer. She was the head of their athletics department, like medical staff or whatever. And apparently he rubbed his balls on her head.
Awesome.
and his butt, his balls, and rested his dick on like her face while she was examining his legs.
Very classy.
Now, again, this is all allegedly. And then it goes on to say that they basically covered it all up and then ruined her career as well. Like, completely discredited her and ruined her entire career.
And from my understanding, and I just skimmed the article because it was pretty long, this was reported
Right.
then, and the report was buried.
Yep.
And it just so happened that this one guy who was doing a story on the dog has won a contest with a paper. This one reporter was doing a story and posted something on Facebook about Peyton, and
someone in the comments.
In the comments, somebody was like, "Yeah, he abused a girl 20 years ago."
Yeah, and so he decided to look into it.
And he looked into it. And that to me is crazy. Like, especially if you get, hundreds of replies to a post that you make. Like, you have to think these people ignore most of the posts
right
on a daily basis, right?
It still seems weird to me that this is coming out now.
And HGH stuff.
Right, and it's
somebody out to screw Peyton.
Right, and why didn't this come out last year? Why didn't this come out when he won his first Super Bowl?
Right?
Why now? Why would he's just about to retire?
Maybe they want to, take him down a couple of notches on his way out.
Taint his legacy a little bit. I mean,
deflate his balls.
Oh. I mean, Tom Brady never allegedly sexually assaulted anybody.
Right? Brady's squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean.
Ray Rice and
dropping nuts on people's head, Peyton Manning.
Right?
So I just
exactly. That's a good point. Does this matter?
I mean, it's 20 years ago, and if it happened, it's a shitty thing, right? It's a very shitty thing.
It's a shitty thing.
And then
19.
And then but
I know
that's not even the bad part. It's not even the bad part. The bad part is the ruining of her career,
right.
Which is allegedly all on him and his dad and their connections.
Yeah.
So
it all.
Again, if this is true, and I mean, it could very well be true. We'll never know, though. We'll never find out. This is going to get buried. This is going to go away.
Yeah.
Because I read something online. I don't even remember who it was now. It's like a sports reporter guy. Said he talked to somebody at ESPN, and there was a memo that no one at ESPN is allowed to report on this. No one is to talk about this.
That's wild. Think about the power that family has, eh?
Yep.
I mean, it just goes back to this whole culture of university and football players and being holier than thou. And this is just...
And getting away with shit.
It's almost a justification, right? Like, if squeaky clean Peyton Manning did this in college and it got buried, then...
What else has been buried?
Why is it such a big... Well, like Jameis Winston, right?
Yeah.
He's being charged with sexual assault left, right, and center. And Johnny Manziel, who can't get his act together. Like, is there this idea that college football players or football players in general are able to get away with shit? And that's why we're starting to see this, like, fallout in the NFL, right?
Yeah, maybe. They're just used to getting away with stuff.
They're used to having shit buried for them.
That they don't need to worry about their actions. Someone's gonna take care of it.
Until it catches up to you, and then Roger Goodell's now like, shit, I'm screwed because we let them get away with this from 18 years old.
Well, but I mean, at least Roger Goodell can like step away from this and be like, I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
because that was in college. You go talk to those guys. Yeah. And you put it here. Is it still relevant? Like, does it matter? It's 20 years later. Does it matter at all?
And it's 20 years. Is it a way to just keep football relevant when football's not being played too, right? Like, is it, Peyton's going to retire, so we need to keep talking about him. So let's put him back
find
in
something.
the news.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like, it's a little sketchy. Why did it come out now? What's the goal? Like, there's got to be an end game for the person who's released this information. What do they want? Because they're not going to get anything.
No.
So, I don't know. I don't think it matters. Like, I really don't think it matters. It sucks, and it should.
Yeah, and if it did happen, like, it's sad, but why didn't you come forward 20 years ago?
Well, I think there was.
She did.
Yeah.
Oh,
And she did get a settlement from the university, I believe. But I'm sketchy on the fine details of it. I read the article, but I read it like 3 days ago, so it's like falling out of my head.
It was really long.
But yeah, and it was a super long article,
right? Like, it was like this person knew this and this and this,
yeah,
and knew this, and like, how did it not come out until now? And exactly, why didn't it come out when he won his first Super Bowl, when he was still popular, when he was, not that he's not still popular, sorry for anybody out there I offended.
No, but absolutely, like, this is something that you would think would have come out 10 years ago, maybe.
Especially if, you know, if the goal was some retribution or retaliation, right? Because now it's just a sad story about a sad old man.
And now he's squeaky clean, Peyton Manning. Like, this guy, you know, you talk to anybody, oh, that's like the model of the nice guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you hear this and you're like, what? Like, what?
Wait a second, hang on.
And I mean, you know, and I'm not making an excuse for you know, boys will be boys or anything like that. But a 20-year-old kid does something stupid. But again, I'm not making an excuse because it's not acceptable. But he was a kid, right? So
take that incident and put it now, though. Like, put it 20 years in the future with the technology of cell phone cameras, this and that, blah blah blah. Isn't it almost the same as Ray Rice?
Yeah.
Right? Just he got caught because there was video.
Because there was video, yeah.
Because that technology now exists. But he, about the same age, assault on a woman.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. I think there's a bigger problem. And it stems from allowing these players to get away with whatever they want to get away with.
Yeah, because they're allowed to do whatever they want.
And so they don't learn consequences. That's why Aaron Hernandez is in jail.
Yep.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Right?
Yep.
So.
And he needed a fall guy like Ray Lewis had.
Yeah, see?
That's how you get away with killing people.
Oh.
Really, you know, after you've done it once, though, you should learn your lesson.
You should.
So.
Gotta have a fall guy.
No smoke and mirrors there. Johnny Manziel spent his Valentine's Day with Louis, the big Louis, you know?
Louis Anderson?
Louis Anderson at some spa resort in Texas.
Is it a spa resort where you stop drinking and doing drugs?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I just happened to catch a picture of it on the Score today. So just thought I'd throw that out there. I don't think it's rehab, but you never know. I think Louis probably had his fair share of practice with rehab, so maybe he could learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
But that's all I got for football. Anybody got anything else to add?
No.
Von Miller's at the Grammys.
Yep. And he was talking shit on Saturday Night Live as well. And
Chris wants to talk CFL.
His joke wasn't funny.
He was he was bashing Cam?
Yeah. And it wasn't a funny joke.
I didn't hear it, but
because they were trying to explain because you know the news came out about gravitational waves being like they proved that they exist anyways. So they had Von Miller try to explain it, and his joke just fell so flat. And I'm just like, yeah, stick to your day job, Von.
Stick to your day job. And in Patriots news, Tom Brady went skiing today.
He went skiing,
and I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Did he go skiing with his hot wife though?
He break anything?
I I know he didn't break anything, and probably he went skiing with his hot wife.
Okay, well, he's allowed to do whatever he wants with his hot wife.
He did the green hills, the little bunny hills.
Oh, the bunny hills?
Not even
Perfect.
he once. He rode the magic carpet.
He just took an inner tube down the hill.
Yeah.
Chris wants to talk CFL.
Well,
Want to talk about Chad Owens?
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, so CFL free agency started on Monday. It was Monday or Tuesday, whatever the 9th was. Yeah, some crazy shit happened. So Winnipeg signed a bunch of players. They are going to be much better this year.
That'll be good.
Toronto signed some good players. Let's see. Hamilton did okay. We lost our kicker, which sucks because there's no kickers left. So next year,
to the NFL tryouts with the Panthers.
That's
Isn't that him?
Toronto's kicker, Swayze Waters. Yeah, our kicker went to Winnipeg.
Okay.
But so we re-signed Ted Laurent, who was the biggest free agent out there, which is good. And then we signed Chad Owens from Toronto, which is like the weirdest thing is when a guy you've hated for so long signs with your team. Like, how do you get rid of that hate? So my buddy texts me, my one buddy, and he's like, I fucking hate this. And I'm like, just give it time. Like, just relax. You know, we've had this before where, like, Arlen Bruce, when he signed with the Ticats a few years back, it was the same thing. Played for the Argos for a long time. You hate him, and then he's on your team for 2 weeks, and you love him, right? So... Yeah. It's just weird, though.
His change.
Right. It's just weird, though, because, you know, there's the pictures with him with the Ticats jersey on now, and it looks so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't look right.
The white, gold, and white, yellow, and black rather than the blue.
Yeah, the two blues. They couldn't even come up with two different colors. They're just like, let's be blue. Okay, what's your second color? A different blue. Yeah, it'll be just lighter. Stupid Argos. So the big winners definitely I would say Ottawa signed Trevor Harris, Toronto's backup quarterback, which is
news for having a terrible team name. So
that's true. But
the Red Blacks.
But now they're basically kicking Henry Burris to the curb, which is like good because fucking Henry Burris just runs his mouth. Shut up, Henry Burris. Anyways, so they won. Winnipeg definitely won. We did okay. BC, Edmonton, big losers. So,
but that's okay because Edmonton's hasn't Edmonton been like not bad?
Well, they just won the Grey Cup, so yeah, they're
right. So I was gonna say, I feel like they were good.
They were good.
Where Andy Fantuz signed too, right?
Yeah, we re-signed him.
You re-signed him.
Yep.
I like Andy Fantuz.
Me too. I have a Fantuz jersey.
Do you? He went to Western.
Oh, well, there you go.
London Pride. That's all I know about football in the CFL. You know what's crazy is I used to go to CFL games all the time. Mm-hmm. And now I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, how do you ever accomplish anything?
You know, I had this argument with the guy I work with the other day. He's like, it's just like, you pass, and then you kick. He's like, you need the fourth down. And I'm like, no, but it forces you to be more aggressive. You can't just run, and then it's 3rd and 5, and then you just do a little dump-off pass. You get a first down. Yeah. You have to actually, like, gain yards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. But I watch now, and I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You really have, you do. You have to be very aggressive, and I prefer sometimes that extra down.
Yeah, I get it. I like both, but I definitely lean more towards CFL, but I do like both. I love no fair catch. I hate fair catches. Hate it so much.
We played Super Bowl bingo, and one of the questions was fair catch, and we restarted our cards for the second half.
Right.
Because I'd already won.
Nice.
I already had almost a full card after the first half.
That's awesome.
We started our cards after the a new card, and nobody could get fair catch. I don't think they had a fair catch in the second half.
Yeah, because that's when there should have been one, but Norwood decided I'm not going to do it, and they thought he called a fair catch and just let him run. Mm-hmm. It was a good play.
Yeah, it was a good play. Did you guys talk Super Bowl last week? I missed it.
Yes. Extensively.
Yes. Probably a ton.
Yeah.
I don't want to relive it because The Broncos won.
Oh,
So all we have left is hockey. Unless
yeah.
there's anything else on anyone else's agenda. I only have two quick things to say. My first thing is about John Scott. This is for Tay as well. He got the MVP chant.
Of course he did.
Return to the ice with the AHL St. John Ice Caps. Now, were they named after the Tim Hortons drink?
I don't think so.
Or were they named before the ice cap came out?
That's a good question because I think they are a more recent team.
So they are the St. John Ice Caps.
Looking it up.
The St. John's Tim Hortons Ice Caps.
Right?
Yeah.
So the fans gave Mr. Scott a warm welcome back with an
well-deserved
MVP chant.
Well-deserved MVP chant.
Yeah. So thought we would touch on that one. And my other piece of NHL news just came down today, and the Lightning are saying that Stamkos won't be traded before the deadline, which means our beloved but not so beloved Leafs may not be picking him up like they thought they were once they unloaded Monsieur Dion.
May not be picking him up now. They still think that they can, and I know if Mark was here, he would be all over this, that they're going to sign him in the offseason. And I'd read online that I guess apparently it's going to be either the Lightning or the Leafs.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He wants to play in there. It's being reported that he wants to play in either Toronto or Tampa.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, they just got a huge amount of money.
Why would he?
Off the table.
I just.
But they're not ready to win either, right? Like that's what Babcock said this week.
And that's it. Like, why would you? If I'm Stamkos, he's what, 27, 28, 29, somewhere around there.
He's not getting any younger.
Right. And why are you going to want to go to Toronto and waste 3 years of your career while this team tries to get better? Because it's not going to get better by next season.
Well, apparently the talks are heating up with the Habs for him. He's 26.
Okay. Wow, 26. Holy shit. Okay, he's still young.
Just last week, too.
He's still young. But still, you don't want to waste 3 years of your career in Toronto waiting for it to get better there.
Well, and so that brings us back to Babcock and what he said this week when they traded, or last week when they traded Phaneuf.
Yeah.
This team's not ready to win yet.
Right.
So why, as a big name player who has the option to pretty much play
anywhere
he wants, why would you pick Toronto other than you're Canadian?
And it's hometown. He's from Markham, right?
But at the end of the day, really? Does playing where you're from matter more than the chance to win?
I don't think so.
If it's about
so either.
If it's about money, then yes. But
do you think Toronto will pay him more than Tampa will?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay, and then here's the problem. Then Toronto's going to pay for him and pay huge for him, and then that leaves nothing for to sign anybody else. This Stamkos to Toronto thing makes no sense to me at all. They need to build a team first before they can go and add a superstar. You can't have the superstar first. Look at fucking Edmonton. How many superstars do they have?
Yep.
Team can't fucking string together, more than 30 wins in a season.
Well, they're finally starting to actually do something now with Connor McDavid, but that's because he's the best thing in hockey since sliced bread.
The thing for me though is if you really want to win, if you haven't won yet and that is your end goal, why on earth would you have the opportunity to pick wherever you want to go essentially.
Yep.
And if winning is that important to you, why would you ever I would never take more money unless I'm going to win. And if I want to play in my hometown, I know that option's going to come up for me down the road because I know this team will sign me even for $1.
Right.
So that I can play
at home
for my home team, right? The Leafs are always going to be an option for Stamkos, always.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you take this opportunity to win?
If I was him, I would go to a team that's close.
Yeah.
Like that's one or two pieces away.
Yeah. Yeah. And that takes me to a little bit to, did you guys, the FNUF trade was last week, right? So you would have touched on it.
It happened after we recorded.
Yeah.
The day after we recorded, so we didn't talk about FNUF.
So the Leafs traded Dion Phaneuf, who people are calling a pylon. And
Dion Phaneuf.
Phenomena.
Dion Phaneuf.
Mike Babcock in the interview after they traded Phaneuf, and it's a great trade. They get so much cap space back.
Oh, huge.
Right? But after they traded him, Babcock comes out and says, Dion's ready to win, and we're not. He needed to be traded because we're not ready to win. But he got traded to the Sens.
They're not ready to win.
They're not ready to win either. So was that just a, I'm blowing smoke up his ass comment?
Well,
I don't know.
I would say the Sens are closer than Toronto.
I would agree, but
But,
but he's still on a Canadian team, and all Canadian teams suck this
yeah,
year.
I don't think any of them are going to end up making the playoffs. God, I hope that happens. Oh, please let it happen. It'll be the greatest thing in the world.
It'd be pretty funny.
But like, so is it a good move? Is it
Other
than the money savings? Like they don't have a leader now.
No, but they didn't have a leader
But did
before.
they? Yeah.
They're calling him a leader. They were saying he was the leader on and off the ice. That
Yeah, but like, were they just saying that to blow smoke up his ass?
Because they
or-
have to say it. You have to say that about your captain. Whether it's true or not, you have to say, yeah, he's a great leader.
Great leader. Yeah, he's a good guy. I don't know. And maybe he was a good leader. Maybe he still is. And I don't know. I don't know.
but he's gone now.
He's gone now. He's in a Sens uniform, and
That's got to be weird. See, that's got to be like the Chad Owens thing.
yeah,
So,
it probably like they booed the shit out of Phaneuf. But
yep.
anyway,
but he's gone, and there's a lot of money back in the
In the
Leafs'
coffers.
pockets over the next.
so in the off season we
7
might.
years?
Yeah, it was a 7-year. It was 2 years ago. I think he only had five years left,
That's crazy.
but it was still a massive chunk of money.
Yeah. Well, good. That's good for the Leafs then. However they figured to get rid of that and not keep any of the salary. Like,
Which is
amazing.
crazy. So, and I think they got a draft pick as well. So they got rid of 5 guys, brought on 4 who with lesser contracts
Yeah.
and a draft pick. So they had to pick somebody, which is kind of nice.
So
Which would be probably pretty nice because the Sens and the Leafs are going to end up pretty low.
Yeah. Yeah, so they should be good picks.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a first rounder or not.
It's a second.
yeah, but
Works out pretty nice. We'll see. I might start watching hockey again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start trying to watch hockey again.
really, even though there's no good, well, you're a,
He's a Sharks fan, so
Sharks
he
fan.
might actually.
but like,
Oh,
At
the
least-
Sharks are making the playoffs this year. They better, anyways.
that's the extent of my hockey
Yeah.
knowledge, because
It's been football.
it has been.
Yeah.
Now you've got to expand your horizons.
Yeah. Now we're hockey.
Yep.
Hockey.
And basketball,
Yeah.
prepping for March Madness. Everybody's got to start doing their research.
Oh boy. I guess I gotta figure that shit out too, eh? I know nothing about college basketball.
You could do what Tay did last year and just pick who would win in a fight between the mascots.
Okay.
That's
Tyler's mom chooses her winners based on which city she'd most like to visit.
Okay.
So there's lots of options on how to pick.
Perfect.
Or you could actually,
Just-
learn about the
just-
teams a little.
Yeah, learn stuff. Sounds like a lot of work.
we'll do a little bracketology tutorial with you on an episode,
Perfect. That's a great idea.
and we'll kind of teach you how the brackets usually work
Okay.
and the odds of certain teams beating certain teams, and not necessarily the actual team name, but the rankings.
Right. Okay.
Because a 10 usually beats a 7, I think it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
And Chris, I have one last thing for you.
Uh-oh.
This week, Liverpool
Yep.
won their soccer game,
Uh-huh.
football match,
Yes.
6-0,
6-0.
and it was an away game.
All away goals.
So
Oh.
I asked Tyler if that meant that they got 12 points.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No.
Because it's only in the playoffs.
It's only in the Champions League. I
Champions League, sorry.
You guys.
guess. I thought you would like to know that I had your back on that
Well,
one.
thank you. I appreciate it.
I've been mocked all weekend.
Just
So
doesn't
that's
make
it.
sense.
That's it for me in sports. Anybody else want to? Blue Jays Russell Martin, happy birthday today.
No. And I believe spring training starts in 2 days?
6 pitchers report in 6, I think.
I think it's closer than that.
I was just on Instagram.
Okay.
Hang on.
I know. Oh, maybe it's some teams are sooner than that.
Let me pull her up here. I got to get past all my Grammy pictures.
Was that today?
Grammys are right now.
Right now.
Oh, man. I'm missing it. Shucks.
Shucks. Oh, darn. Blue Jays. 7 days until the first official workout for pitchers and catchers.
Nice.
Man.
The first game for the Blue Jays is on March 1st.
Wow. That's quick. So, okay. So let me ask you this. Is there any chance that the Blue Jays make the playoffs this year?
Oh, God. I don't know. You have to hope.
I hope so. I really do. They've done a bunch of moves in the offseason. Like, they've got some decent pitching back. They've still got all their bats. But
So the offense is still just as good?
the offense is still just as good. I think if
As long
they,
as everyone's healthy.
as long as everybody's healthy
And
and they,
nothing's changed with the defense. It's the pitching.
it's the pitching that is the worry.
So we lost Burley,
Yeah.
and we lost Price, obviously.
Yeah.
Is that it from our starters?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And you got to think that Stroman's going to be there all season, right?
Stroman will be there all season, so that's why they weren't too worried about Price.
Right. And then how do you replace Burley though? Like that's
And I think that's what they've been trying to do with all, like, they brought, forget the guys' names, but they've brought up some good guys to maybe fill the role.
okay.
But I think most of the guys they've brought in are relief,
Right.
and they might be looking to bring somebody out of the bullpen to the starting role.
Okay.
So
Well, let's hope, but I don't know. I just have that feeling like that was like a magical thing.
I hope at least wild card.
yeah.
So fingers crossed, but
Home game wild card though.
home game wild card would
Yeah.
be amazing. Yeah.
And single game tickets went on sale. Whatever day was the coldest day so far. It was Thursday, maybe?
Saturday,
yeah.
I think.
Went on sale. And the home opener sold out in under 45 minutes.
Wow.
So the fans are excited.
Well, and I mean, playoffs do that.
Yep.
Playoffs help
The
that for sure.
the bat flip does it. That's for sure. I saw a thing. I guess they were interviewing Jose Bautista before the NBA All-Star game,
Oh yeah.
and he said that he hasn't paid for a meal since the bat flip.
I saw that too.
That's spectacular.
Insane.
That's spectacular. You know what though? So, for me, like Blue Jays memories, the Joe Carter home run is definitely like number one. But that bat flip is like a very, very close number 2.
Yeah, and it's only number 2 because Joe Carter won the
Because
World Series.
he won the fucking World Series. That's right.
Like, that's the only reason it's number 2.
Yeah. Like that's ahead of, because you remember when the Alomar home run.
Yeah.
Like that Alomar home run, that was number 2 forever.
Yeah, that was a huge home run.
Right. And it's like same thing, flips the bat, arms up, skipping around, like, but this bat flip, like that, man, nothing. I don't remember feeling like that in a long time watching fucking baseball. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's that for sure. It was crazy.
Pretty huge moment. The Raptors GM was talking about how he felt after, he was asked about how he felt after this weekend and whether it was a successful bring all the stars in the NBA to Toronto weekend. And he said, I feel like I could just walk around bat flipping. Right? So people
That's
are using
awesome.
that as an analogy.
Love it. Love it.
I think that's a pretty big deal. So it was a good week in the 6.
In the 6. I don't even get it.
You know what? I was in San Antonio for work, and I went into the liquor store, and the guy said, "You're not from around here." I said, "No, I'm from Toronto." And he goes, "Oh, the 6." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Nobody calls it that.
I literally said to him, I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Do you know Drake?" And I was like, "I do know Drake." And he's like, "Yeah, the 6, where Drake's from." And I was like, "Nope, still don't get it."
Good times.
So,
Can't just make shit up, Drake.
Well, it's the 416.
Yeah,
No?
I guess.
And the 647.
Yeah. Don't they have a third one now? Don't they have a third area code?
Probably. Does it have a 6 in it?
And that's the problem. Like, you call it 416, but half your phone numbers start with 647. So get out
So
of
there's
here.
the 416, 647, and 437.
There you go. See,
a 6 in it.
So it should be the 4.
that's right.
Drake fucked it up.
Fucked it up.
Way to go, Drake.
Well, that's all I got in sports.
Now go do your dance. Your little fucking, what's that dance called?
Your cell phone dance?
Yeah, the weird
The hotline bling?
hotline bling. That's the one.
I'm sad I know that.
It is.
That was really sad, actually. So, cheers to Tay. We
Yep.
missed you.
Feel better.
Feel better. Enjoy the rest of your time away if you can. And we promise not to talk about Drake so much next week.
YouTubes.
YouTube.
What's up, YouTubes?
Going on?
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, no boobs. That's like
Yeah, it's sad. No boobs.
It seems like it's more frequent as we're going on.
Yeah, the first season was littered with boobs.
Right.
And I think that's how they got a lot of people.
I was just gonna say, did they use that to be like, hey, you should watch this show because there's all kinds of boobs.
Boobies. And like with Daenerys, they probably went, okay, as long as you show your boobs in the first season, you never have to show them again.
She shows them all the way into the third, though. She shows them until.
Yeah, fair. But not as often.
No, definitely not.
Like
It was after the third season when she said, "I'm not doing it anymore."
No more showing the boobs.
That's it. That's it. You don't get to see them anymore. You already seen them, but you can't see them ever again.
Yeah, because it's not all over the internet.
That's right. That's right. Well, on that note, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Rabble of Thrones. This week we are going to be discussing. It is called Dark Wings, Dark Words. The
right.
second episode of season 3.
Yes.
Oh, and I want to throw this out there.
Okay.
I have been, because season 6 is quickly approaching, I've been watching season 5 again.
Yeah.
Just to because I want to watch it before 6 starts, right? Because anybody who listens to this podcast knows I ragged on season 5 pretty hard.
You did pretty hard.
So I'm 2 episodes in, and it's not as bad as I remember.
Okay.
Now, again, nothing major has happened, and I know that was my biggest complaint, is that nothing happens.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Like, give me a couple weeks, because I'm kind of like trying to slow play it, but
yeah.
We'll see how I feel. But as of right now, I'm like, it's not. It's not the worst thing in the world.
But it wasn't the best either, right?
Right. And I'll tell you what's weird. Going back and forth between season 3 and season 5, that's getting confusing.
Oh, yeah. Trying to figure out where you are.
Right, because it's like, oh, wait, hold on. He's still alive. No, he's not. He's dead. Oh, yeah, right? So.
Oh, damn.
I'm having an internet thing here. Your screen has frozen, and you sound
I,
like...
I look a little frozen there.
Yeah, okay, but I look okay?
You look fine. I can see you, which is really strange.
Now, this is bizarre.
But I see myself moving down in the little corner there.
Oh, and now I've totally fucked it all up.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Well, we'll talk through it. I'm sure it's just goddamn kids watching Netflix or some shit.
Sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches. As long as I sound okay on your end, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, perfect. Well, so we start off with Bran. And he's... Oh, there we go. Now we got video. All right. So we start off with Bran, and he's having a dream where he's shooting his bow and arrow.
He's walking around, and the first time I saw this, I was really fucking confused.
Oh, okay. You didn't realize it was a dream?
I didn't put two and two together from
Gotcha.
earlier on when he was actually dreaming and whatnot. So when he was walking around, I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah. So, and it's funny. So he's like running, and I'm like, my note, Bran, you can't run. What are you doing? So the three-eyed raven shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like on a branch, and he's aiming at it, and then John and Rob are now standing beside him.
Yeah, and that's when I went, oh, it's a dream.
Giving him the same advice they gave him in the first episode when they're at Winterfell. Like, oh,
right.
You know, however you shoot a bow and arrow, I don't know. You think I would know these things being native, but I really don't know how to shoot a bow and arrow.
It's not that easy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple different ways. I've done the regular way that everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And then there's the Japanese longbow.
Oh.
That's fucking hard.
Have you seen this guy that's like the crazy
like the real way to shoot a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Like the quick draw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like
guy's
that.
Crazy.
Guy's crazy. And like to be able to shoot three of them and then actually hit shit.
Right.
What you want to hit?
Right.
That was like, hey, dude, that's impressive.
Guy's pretty crazy. So
the first few of them, I was like, you are just a nut job, and then you actually,
and then you're like,
skill.
Oh wait, he's actually hitting stuff.
You're actually good at this. Okay.
So he takes a shot at the three-eyed raven and misses, and you hear John and Rob start chuckling, and then you hear Ned Stark saying, well, which of you were great archers at 10? And then you realize, and then there's like a shot of the sky, and you realize like the wind is making Ned Stark's voice somehow. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, so the bird flies away, and Bran turns around, and there's this kid there.
Yeah.
So
we're like, who the hell is this guy?
Right, who's this kid? So Bran wakes up, and Osha's in a bad mood. And they're discussing like what were they? Oh, like they're still heading north, and Bran says, "Oh, nobody knows we're alive," and she's like, "Well, you don't know what everybody knows. You can't possibly know that." So then we go to Rob and Talisa, and they're talking about bullshit. It was just like such a filler scene.
It was such a dumb scene.
But then Roose shows up.
And it should have just been like early, like
right.
Just show them talking and lines earlier.
Right, like cut this scene down. We don't need. There was a lot of that in this episode. Actually, a lot of like where I was like, I just stopped taking notes. I'm just like, why? None of this matters.
Yeah, I watched this, and I think I was doing dishes at the same time. I'm like, well, I could do something else and still get the gist of this episode.
Exactly. So Roose shows up, and he's got 2 scrolls, and Rob's like, well, which one's the good news and which one's the bad news?
But didn't he say, like, let me guess?
Yeah. And so we find out that Catelyn's dad, so Rob's grandfather, has died.
Yeah.
And the second note is that Theon burned down Winterfell and fled. So,
like a little bitch.
Right. So Catelyn asks if, like, we're going to go to the funeral. Am I going to be your prisoner when we go to the funeral? Or, like, how is this going to work? Again, Rob's going to the funeral.
Yeah.
Gist. So, again, last thing we find out is about Theon burning down Winterfell. So then, cut to Theon, tied up. Oh, man, it gets so bad for Theon.
It gets really bad for Theon. And, like, I thought this scene was bad.
Right. This is nothing. So, he's like, what do you want? Why are you doing this to me? They don't say anything, and they just jam a knife right under his fucking fingernail.
Which, like, you look at it, oh my god! You just feel the pain. You feel it happen.
Yep. It's not a good. There's nothing good came from that.
No, that's just like that is awful torture.
So, so we go to Jaime and Brienne, and their discussions are all like exposition, and it's like mostly like bullshit. But he has so many good lines in these scenes that I want to write them all down, but I'm like, I'm just writing down the script. You know what I mean? So in this scene, she's Jamie's like trying to figure out, well, you haven't worked for Catelyn Stark for long because I was at Winterfell and I would have seen you there and I didn't. And then so he's like, so who did you serve before? Was it Stannis? And she's like, Gods no. And he's like, okay, so it was Renly. And then he figures out that she had a crush on Renly.
Yeah.
And the one line that I did write down that he said, that if the throne was made of cocks, they would have never got him off it. So
I forgot about that line.
Yeah, because he was saying how she probably didn't have a chance with him. So as they're walking through the woods, there's a dude up on the hill who sees them. And he's like, oh, you guys are avoiding the King's Road, huh? And he's like, yeah, well, have a good day, and keeps walking. And Jamie's like,
you gotta kill that motherfucker.
He knows who I am. You need to kill him. And she's like, he's an innocent dude. And he's like, more innocent than the Stark girls. And then they kind of leaves it at that. But she leaves him alone.
Bad move, man.
Bad move. So then we go to Joffrey, who's getting a new
he's getting a new suit.
Getting a new suit made. He doesn't want flowers. He told you he doesn't want flowers. Again, these
silly scene.
These scenes. No, the scene's not silly because this scene is very important because it shows that Cersei has completely lost control. Because she's completely lost control of him, and her fear is that Marjorie's gonna get in there and manipulate him. And later in the episode, Marjorie's super smart. But anyways, so he's talking shit like, oh, women should listen and blah blah blah, and it's like, man. Anyways, and then she makes a comment about, because there was that little piece of fabric. Yeah. And she's like, oh, you should give it to Marjorie. She could make a whole dress out of it. Because she wears almost no clothing.
Because she's a whore.
Because she dresses like a harlot for a reason. She's a harlot. So, where were we here? Oh, yeah. And then we get the Sansa Shae scene.
Oh.
Yep. And so, Shae's telling Sansa, like, you need to be careful around Littlefinger. Men only want one thing from pretty girls. And then she's like, if he tries to do something to you, you tell him. And she's like, why? Or tell me. And she's like, why? What are you going to do? She's like, I'll make him stop. So you get the sense that Shay, like, really does care about Sansa. Like, she really does.
Yeah.
So.
Really? Or does she? But who knows?
I think she does. Like, why would she say, why? She's got nothing to gain from that.
I guess.
So, as they're talking, Loras shows up and tells Sansa, like, hey, my sister and my grandmother want to meet you and talk to you.
Let's go down to the gardens.
Let's go down.
You.
Yeah, and so she's like, oh, I don't know if you remember we met before. You gave me a rose. And he's like, whatever.
Yeah, sure, I remember.
You're not
all the ladies.
You're not a dude. I'm not interested.
Where's your cack?
So, he walks her to the garden and meets up with Marjorie, and we meet Elena. It's Elena, right?
I believe so.
And God damn it, she just steals every scene she's in. Like, she's so good.
Yeah, Olena,
sorry.
Olenna.
Olena. All right.
Olena.
I won't screw it up again. Yes, I will. So they want to know. Yeah. They want to know what Joffrey's like.
Yeah.
And, Sansa obviously doesn't want to say anything.
Doesn't want to say the truth.
Right.
Least, right? Like, she's scared to say.
So she starts.
Really
so she starts telling them about how he ordered them to chop off Ned's head. She's like, he said he would give mercy, and that was his mercy. And then she tells them how he made her look at the head on the spike, and then she kind of backs off, and she's like, but he was a traitor, and my brother's a traitor, and this and that. And they're like, listen, we're not gonna say anything. Tell us what he's like. And she's like, he's a monster.
Yeah.
So then we go to this, head into the grandpa's funeral, and it's Karstark and Robb sitting there talking, and Karstark's like, this is a waste of time. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, we're fighting a war. And Robb makes a comment about, you're not believing in me anymore and things like that. And Karstark looks at Talisa, like, coming down the hill on her horse, and he's like, you lost the war the day you married her.
Yeah.
So then we get the Talisa Catelyn chat.
Yeah.
This was a really good scene, and from what I understand, not in the books.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Catelyn.
It was a good mother and daughter-in-law scene.
Right. And so she tells her the story of she's making some
quilty,
looks like a dream catcher kind of thing.
Yeah, thing.
So, and Talisa's like, hey, I can help you if you want. And she's like, no, only a mother can make this.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, do they work? And she's like, well, when the boys were young, one of them got really sick, and so I made this, blah blah blah. And then she's like, oh, which boy? And she's like, Jon Snow. And so she tells the story about how, when Ned brought home Jon Snow, she hated him, like hated that kid, and rightfully so. Like, I mean, this is the personification of Ned Stark being unfaithful.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, this little baby represents your husband banging another broad.
Yeah.
No one's gonna like that. So,
no. God no.
So she says, I prayed to the gods that he would get sick and die. Like, just take him away, get rid of him, and then he gets sick. So then, now she feels awful because, like, why would she want a little baby to die? Like, he didn't do anything wrong. So she says, She prays to the gods, and I'll take care of him like he's my own. Just make him better. I'll make Ned give him the Stark name, and that'll be that. And so he got better, but she couldn't fulfill her end of the promise.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, that's still, the representation of Ned Stark banging another broad. It was like it's a great.
It was a great scene. It was one of the best in this episode.
Absolutely, absolutely, and like I mean, you put yourself in Catelyn's like perspective, and how could you like that kid? Like that kid is, oh man, I don't know.
Oh yeah, like if you think about it, like it's like you coming home with a kid.
Yeah. Oh hey, by the way,
like we're this is my son with somebody else, and we're now taking care of it.
Yeah, we got to take care of it. So could you like feed him and stuff? He needs a sandwich.
Yeah.
He needs a sandwich. He likes he likes the crust cut off.
He only eats peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, that's it. Crust cut off. Where are we here? Fuck! I lost my spot.
Oh my god!
I lost my spot.
We gotta rely on you to run this show.
I know, right? Oh, here we go. Okay, then we go to Mance Rayder and Jon Snow.
Yes, beyond the wall.
Right, talking about killing Corrin, and then so basically Mance is just telling him like, hey, I united 90 tribes, and these guys hate these guys, and these guys hate these other guys, and this guy hates this guy, and they all hate the cave people. And then he's like, how I got all of them to work together? I told them that if they don't get south, we're all gonna die.
Yep.
So then they're walking along, and it's like, oh hey, here's this guy with his eyes all white, looking up in the sky. It's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, he's a warg. And Ygritte's like, never seen a warg before? And he's like, no, I don't think I have. So
nothing.
So he like snaps out of it, and they're like, oh, where were you this time? He's like, I was at the Fist of the First Men. And he's like, oh, what did you see? Dead crows. And so then we flip over to Sam and the boys walking along, and there's that douche guy whose name I don't know, and he's just talking shit to Sam the whole time, like, oh, 200 brothers died back there, and you're still alive. That doesn't seem right. And like, why don't you just give up now? So Sam just kind of like drops down,
drops to his knees, and says,
he's like, "Fuck it, you're right. I'm just gonna give up.
I'll just give up."
So Gren and I can never remember the other guy's name. Anyways, they go back and they're like, "Yo,
Ed,
that's right." Gren
and the other guy's name is Rast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which one's Gren? Am I just making up a name now?
No, Gren and Ed are like his buddies.
Oh, the douchebag guy is Rast.
Douchebag is Rast.
Thank you. Okay. So, so they go and pick him up, and they're like, you gotta keep moving. Don't do this. And he's crying, and this is like my I hate Sam moment. Like, just fucking,
just suck it up and let's go.
Be a man. So then Mormont comes back, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you guys doing? And he says to Sam, he's like, I forbid you to die. And then he tells Rask, he's like, he's your responsibility. If he dies, it's on you.
Yeah, I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. So then we go back to Bran and Osha, and I always forget Bran's fucking wolf's name.
Summer, isn't it?
Summer. Yes, it is. I'm an idiot.
Like, come on now.
So Osha hears something, and I think Bran was sleeping, or he was like, whatever. I mean, I guess when you don't have much to do.
Yeah, he was kind of laying there.
Right.
I don't know whether he was sleeping or not, but he was just laying there.
So Osha hears the sound, and she's like got her little spear, and Summer starts like losing it, like growling, and then boom, the kid from his dream shows up. So he shows up, and the dog's growling, and OSHA comes up behind him and puts the spear to the back of his neck, and he's like, "I'm unarmed," and and OSHA's like, "That's not very smart," and he's like, "Well, my sister usually carries the weapons," and then boom, OSHA now has a knife to her neck.
It was a great fucking line.
It was good. So they introduce themselves. It's Jojen and Mira. Reed, I believe, is their last name. Yes,
That is correct.
and so Jojen basically. Oh no, that's it. Yeah, they go into it later
Yeah, it's in the
next scene, right? So then we go to Gendry and Arya and Hot Pie walking, just the three best pals walking through the forest.
The three best friends that anyone can have.
And Gendry's like giving her shit. He could have killed anybody. You could have said Joffrey. You could have said Tywin Lannister. Could have ended the war. She's like, we got out. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, we're free right now.
Stop your bitching.
Yeah, I fucking
Stop
pussy.
asking questions and just be thankful that we're alive.
So then they get up near, or no, she's like, if we're going north, we should have hit this river by now, whatever river it is. And
Yeah.
Hot Pie's like, oh, maybe we missed it. She's like, it's 100 feet wide.
Yeah, we didn't miss it.
We didn't miss it. So then they're near a road and they hear singing. And I believe it was the Rains of Castamere, was it not? It sounded very much like he was singing the Rains of Castamere.
You know, I don't know.
So,
It was. You're correct.
whew, man, I'm good.
Good for you.
Now, his name. What is that gentleman's name? I cannot remember.
Thoros of Myr.
Thoros, that's it. So, they try to hide,
Yeah, which doesn't go well.
but doesn't go well. So, Arya like kind of stands up to him, and she's like, you just keep on going down the road, keep singing, and you won't get hurt.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, so you're and he's got like 20 guys with him,
Yeah.
and so and then the guy does the thing with the arrow where he shoots it up in the air, and it's gonna hit Hot Pie if he doesn't move, whatever. And so basically, he's like, listen, you come with us, have a meal, and then you guys are free to go. And they're like, all right. And
That's good to me.
And then Hot Pie's like trying to climb over the rock, and they're like, half the country's starving. Look at this one. And then the other guy's like, maybe he's the reason half the country's starving. I thought it was such a good joke. Oh man, so they F off, and that's the end of that. So then Shay is waiting for Tyrion, and he's like, I told you, you can't be here.
Another stupid scene.
But the thing I like about this scene is it sets up stuff later on. So
Yeah, it's needed for sure, but
because he, she tells him about Roz saying, "Watch out for Littlefinger."
yeah,
And then he's like, he's like, which girl? And she's like, and he's like, oh, the redhead Roz. And she's like, yeah, how do you know who she is?
well, I fucked her.
Well, I fucked her. And she's like, oh, gets all angry. And then after that, after he kind of cools her down with that, he tells her about how Sansa's pretty. And she gets super jealous about that.
Yeah,
So this, to me, sets up the whole thing. So now in my brain, here's the way I'm thinking.
okay.
Or in Shay's brain, now Tyrion's planted the seed that he finds Sansa attractive.
Sure.
So now when, spoiler, when they set up the marriage between him and Sansa,
Right.
in Shay's brain, now he's got what he wanted.
Sure.
And this all leads to her not being, it doesn't make a lot of sense if but she's stupid, and we've gone with this from the beginning, is that she is an idiot and just literally can't see 2 feet in front of her. But this, I think this sets up that whole jealousy with Sansa.
Yeah.
And I think that leads to her fucking him over ultimately at the end.
Sure. Yeah.
And it all starts right here. So.
Yeah.
So then Marjorie goes to see Joffrey. And he's stroking his brand new crossbow. And so they start talking about, her being with Renly. And, she's like, well, I was just doing my wifely duties. Yes, he was a traitor, but I was told that that's who I had to marry. And as his wife, I have responsibilities. And he's like, well, what responsibilities? She's like, well, having kids. And he's like, but you didn't have any kids. And
oh, snap.
And she's like, well, he always had late night meetings, and I don't know if he was really into me or girls. And she's like, well, there was this one time when he had too much wine, and
he stick it in my butt.
Yeah, he suggested we do butt stuff. And so, Joffrey's like, well, I was thinking about having his perversion punishable by death. And she's like, yeah, you could do that. You're the king. You do whatever you want. And so then he like shows her the crossbow, and like, it's so easy to load, and
la-di-da-di-da.
Right. And then she does the smart thing. She's like, because then she realizes, okay, Sansa says he's a monster, so he wants to kill things. So now I'm going to play into that. And she's like, it's got to be really cool standing here, pulling this trigger and watching something die over there.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that is cool. And then she's like, do you want to see me kill something? And he's like, yeah. Like she just figured him out. Like, that's it. She figured him out. And now she's in.
Yep.
She knows his thing, and she's in. She's super smart.
Let's go hunting.
Yeah. My father never allowed me to. Well, you don't belong to him anymore.
Yeah, you're mine now,
yeah,
woman.
Yep. So butt stuff. Yep. She plays into his crazy. Okay, so now we go back to Theon.
Yeah.
And were they drilling that into his foot? Or did they have a board on top and they were just pressing it? I couldn't tell.
You know what? I couldn't tell either.
Because I think it was just they were pressing it, like crushing his foot, but I don't know. So
I wasn't sure. Either that or like they were twisting it, or they were doing something.
So they're crushing his foot,
that was clearly painful.
Drilling into his foot. Whatever it was, it sucked. And they're asking him like, "Why did you take Winterfell?" And he's like, giving them all kinds of answers, and they're like, "We want the truth. Why did you take Winterfell?" And he keeps like, I did it for myself. I did it for glory, blah, 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 and just saying bullshit. I did it because I hated the Starks and what they did to me. And so they put the bag over his head and they leave. Give it a little turn before they leave as well, which was
a little extra crank.
Right. And there's a dude in the back kind of sweeping up. And he takes the hood off, and he's like, "My sister sent you. And he loosens the thing on his foot. He's like, "Your sister sent me. I'm gonna get you out of here tonight." And he's like, "No, don't leave me." And he leaves. I wonder who that guy could be. Seems like a good guy.
Seems like a
great dude.
And I mean, he's very trustworthy, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I trust him already.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I don't know, did you notice, as the camera was panning out from that scene, you could see through the door, right? And they have Theon strapped up to the X, and it was exactly the flayed man, like the bolt and sigil. Exactly. Yeah. And I wonder, I know I didn't catch it the first time. But like,
Yeah, I don't know if I caught it the first time either, but like every time you see him on it, you're like, okay, that's an X. That's exactly like the sigil.
right? How did I not put two and two together?
Yeah.
Like it's just.
It's the little things you don't see the first
Yeah,
time.
you
right?
just don't see it, and that's what makes rewatching it so good, because it's like, how did I not see this? The whole red wedding is being set up right now. Like, we're watching all the groundwork
Oh yeah.
being put in for the red wedding. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. But like, all of these conversations with Roose, with Karstark, all of this stuff is setting up. Like, it's and there's so much.
The fact that he said, like Karstark said, like, you lost the war when you married her,
and he's absolutely right. That was the
Game
thing.
over, man.
Game over, man.
Game over.
So we go to Jojen and Bran talking as they're trudging along, and Jojen tells Bran that he's a warg. Which I guess this is the first time we've heard that term, right? This is
the first episode we hear warg, yeah.
Okay. So,
as far as I remember.
Yeah, so then he talks about the three-eyed raven, and he's like, well, the three-eyed raven, that's different. He's like, that's the sight.
Yeah.
So you can see things that haven't happened, or that are gonna happen, or happened in the past, or are happening elsewhere.
Because it's you.
Right. That's right. You can't kill it because it's you. That's right. And then he says that his dad was Hayland Reed, and he saved Ned Stark's life during the rebellion. And I guess, knowing what I know, he was at the Tower of Joy, right? So, and because, now that Mira's back in, and I see her, and I'm like, man, this is like that whole theory of her and Jon being related. Like, she looks like Jon.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then, and then Osha and Mira are talking, and Osha's like, "Oh, a boy having a girl do his fighting for him," and Mira's like, just because someone can't fight doesn't mean they're not worth fighting for. And it's like, and it's perfect because it like completely mirrors, because Osha's taking care of Bran, who can't fight for himself, and Mira's taking care of Jojen. It's like exactly the same. They're the same. They're doing the exact same job.
Yep.
So, so then we go back to the Brotherhood Without Banners, who I forgot to mention. That's who. What's his name again? What was that guy's name? Fuck.
Thoros.
Thoros, yes. So Thoros is with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and so they're so they're eating, and he's telling stories and talking about drinking ale, and for some reason Arya decides to get up and pull her sword on him. And I'm foggy as to why now. I can't even...
I think because she said something about, I know how to use it.
Oh, that's right. My brother... That's right, because he was asking, how did you guys get Castle Forge steel? And it's like, well, he was Gendry's... Yeah.
And I know how to use it because my dad...
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right. So then she, flails her sword around, and he very easily disarms her.
Yeah, with a little tap.
So, and then, they sit back down, and he's like I said before, finish your meal. You're probably not going to have another one for a while. And then you guys are free to go. And so Arya's like, yeah, let's just bolt now. So she, like, hey, let's go. So they get up, and just as they start to walk towards the door, a bunch of dudes burst in with a really tall guy, with a bag over his head. Yeah. And they take the bag off, and it's the Hound.
The Hound.
And Arya sees him and kind of turns, right? And then she starts walking, and the Hound looks over, and he's like, what are you guys doing with the Stark bitch? So, and that was that. Clearly, she's not getting out of that door, though.
Nope.
So...
You ain't going nowhere. Where are
Jamie?
you going?
Nowhere. So, my note here says, Jamie's such a dick. So she's trying to decide whether they should take the bridge or cross the river.
Yeah, and Jamie's just egging her on.
Just egging her on. So she decides, I guess, that they're going to take the bridge.
Yeah.
And I thought this scene happened last season. I forgot that this was like how they get captured.
This is how
basically.
they get captured, yeah.
Yeah. So they're crossing the bridge, and they get pretty much halfway across, and Jamie like falls over. He's like, "Oh, I got corns on my feet," and she's like, "You got to get up, like let's go. You got to fucking move your ass." And she goes to like pick him up, and he grabs her sword.
Yeah, one of her two swords,
and he makes reference. He's like, "I always wondered why people carried two swords," and so cuts the rope, and now it's on.
It's on like Donkey Kong,
and she kicks his fucking ass.
Yep.
Now, I'll give him that his hands are bound.
Tied still, yeah.
But for someone who's supposed to be this great fighter,
a hot shot of a fighter,
who says to her during the fight, don't what does he say? Don't grimace or don't.
Yeah, it was don't you do something to gives it away.
Don't grimace before you strike because we can see it coming. He does it every time. He does the exact thing he tells her not to do. It's like, aren't you supposed to be this great warrior? And she fucking demolishes him.
Yeah.
And especially at the end, like, she just knocks the sword right out of his hand.
Yeah.
And then
a bunch of horses show
up. And they got the Bolton banners.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, is this... They pull out the guy that they saw on the road earlier. And they're like, is this the dude? And he's like, oh, yep. And they're like, okay, here's your money. Get out of here. And that's it.
Well, and then they have a little discussion of Jamie says, I'll give you whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. My father...
Locke, the guy that's leading the group, says, can you get me a second head?
Yeah.
Because if I let you go, they're going to have my head.
Right.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, and I'd rather see them take your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we get the credits.
Yeah, and then that's it.
And then we get the credits. So, good like setup episode. Like not much happens in this one. It's all kind of it's all kind of set up. That's so I don't know if you saw it or not, Tyler, but they released a trailer last night.
Oh, did they ever?
They sure did. I'm glad we waited till today to record.
Because it would have been a week holding that in.
Right. Because it would have come out after we were done recording. So let's go through it. Basically, it's the inside the house of black and white.
Yep.
And it's the
room hall of all the faces
with all the faces, and they show they start with Ned, and you hear him you hear stuff he said, and then
Rob,
and then Catelyn, and then Jon
I think
Snow.
get Jon.
Yep. And then it pans down.
Yeah.
And then we see Tyrion.
Yep.
And if you look to the right beside Tyrion, there was Daenerys. And there was a couple others, and I'm like, okay, so I'm really confused.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yes, these first bunch were all dead people.
Yeah.
And now you're not. Now you're showing alive people. So it's like,
or are they alive people?
Or are they? Or I don't know. But it was a good trailer. I love that it didn't give away anything. Did we talk about the pictures on the last episode?
I don't believe we did.
Because those came out after too, right?
No, I think those came out afterwards as well, yeah. Because a lot of pictures of people on set, in scene in character.
Oh yeah, these are like shot. I would assume they're shots from the show.
Yeah, and like Game of Thrones released them. So.
Right. So, Bran looks super old.
Super old. Like, well, we haven't seen the kid in 3 freaking years.
Well, it's been 1 year, but okay.
So, sorry.
And then he was clearly standing beside Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that. I would assume that that's going to be a dream or a three-eyed raven thing. Daenerys has a necklace on.
I think that picture is titled something, and he is playing the three-eyed raven.
Who is?
The guy that Bran is with.
Max von Sydow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, I'll have to look that up again.
And then we've got Daenerys with the necklace, which is either a snake or a dragon. I can't really tell.
Yeah, Max von Sydow as the three-eyed raven.
So he's playing the three-eyed raven.
So it's, yeah. Which is, I don't know.
And then we've got pictures of blind Arya.
Yeah, which are freaking creepy as hell.
Oh wait, hold on, shit! They released more pictures. I didn't see these ones. Okay, so blind Arya, and then I assume that's a dragon. It looks like a dragon. And then a picture of Sansa kind of beat up.
Yeah.
And then a picture of Tyrion drinking wine. And then there's another picture of Daenerys with her hands bound with a bunch of Dothraki dudes. So, like I had surmised from last season, it's not going to be good for her, at least at the beginning of this season.
No, it's not going to be good.
So,
I'm really excited.
I'm getting more and more excited. I hope that it's better than last season. Oh, there was another picture. There was a picture of Jaime with Mycella's body.
Yeah, and then there's another picture of them doing the whole burial thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, with him and Tommen.
Yeah.
Jaime and Tommen. Yep. And there is a picture of Yara.
Yeah, and there's a couple of pictures of the High Sparrow.
Yeah. And then there's my my red lady.
Yeah, and still at the wall.
Still at the wall. But yeah, I'm lots of stuff's coming out. I hope they keep this pace up. Like, give us something every couple weeks. So hopefully not too much. So don't give me too much.
Not too much, but keep us involved.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that trailer, if you guys have not seen that,
definitely check it out.
Go check it out. Like, it's like teaser full.
Yeah.
And it is just fantastic.
It is very good.
I'm going to watch it again in a second, I think.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that's all I've got for this week. Did you have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for watching this week or listening. Hey, if I don't know if you know this or not, but you can check us out on Facebook.
Whoa.
Facebook.com/Rabble of Thrones. You can check us out on Twitter at Rabble of Thrones. You can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/RabblePress.
We've got our own playlist there.
We do. Rabble of Thrones playlist. You just click that. You can watch. You can look at our mugs talking about Game of Thrones. It's pretty sweet.
Every single episode up until now.
That's right. And you could just go to rabbleofthrones.com and get to all of that stuff.
Yeah, you can find us on iTunes.
And please, if you're enjoying this podcast, go to iTunes right now. Find Rabble of Thrones. Click rate and give us 5 stars. And then comment, write something. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
You can give us 2 stars too if you like.
Give us 1 star.
Write
give
something.
us any stars and write something. Yes, please, let us know.
if you're on one of these Android devices and you don't have the iTunes,
You can use Stitcher.
you can use Stitcher, which is finally back up. It was down for like 3 days.
Perfect. Or you can use... Is Google Play up yet?
You know what? I don't know if Google Play's doing it yet.
But guess what? We'll be on there when it is.
When Google Play starts doing the podcast, we're right in there. Or you can actually do the whole fancy thing and email us. Podcast at rabbleofthrones.com.
At rabbleofthrones.com.
Or go to rabbleofthrones.com/contact and fill out the form.
I'll get it either way. And I'll read it live on air.
Woohoo!
That's right. So, anyways, now that I've done all that,